Recently, I had a patient who was hard of hearing. As I wrapped up his eye exam, I let him know that his eyes are healthy and his vision is fine. The patient became emotional. He breathed a sigh of relief and he hugged me. He explained to me that only recently he'd suffered progressive hearing loss and now relied on lip reading and sign language to get by. With a tear in his eye, he said, "I don't know what I would do if I lost my vision." This is a sentiment to which we can all relate. In our world, we rely fully and unconditionally on our vision to navigate. So it's no surprise most of us would say that our vision is the one sense we'd be most afraid to lose. But sometimes it requires an encounter like this to remind us of that truth. Saadi said, "I cried because I had no shoes until I met the man who had no feet." Suddenly we become very aware of our basic senses and our ability. We begin to appreciate that we can walk and talk and touch and feel and hear and taste, and most of all, we appreciate that we can see. Stephen Covey said the lens through which we see the world shapes the world we see. And once we are aware, we can begin to change our focus. In fact, we can change the entire lens. And once we are aware, we can begin to see how fortunate we are just to be here, of all places in this vast universe, to be here. And perhaps we weren't put here just to worry about putting shoes on our own feet, but to help those without feet to walk. Because the beautiful meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade we do not expect to sit. In other words, to give back, even if all you have to give is just a little bit. And there are many ways we can do this. If you have a skill, use it to help your sisters and brothers. But if you don't worry, because as Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. The promise of sight or health or education go far beyond the four walls of a clinic or a school or the boundaries of a city or a country. These are not privileges just for those who can afford them. These are things that we should all be allowed to enjoy. And if you feel that you alone cannot make a difference, think of the words of Margaret Mead before you pass. She said, "Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has."